Right.
Somebody bought it on the courthouse steps, donated it back.
Good morning. It's Wednesday, right? It's one of the days. It's summer, or I guess if you have kids, it's summertime. So Calvin is traveling in Asia. He's in Japan right now. We have the honor of Tom Trong out in Boston, one of our leader partners here, and then James is on a corporate call, so he'll be down here. And this is kind of a last minute thing because they were in town for one of our commercial lender partners with Com Loans with Mitch, and exciting to see what people are looking at the model of eXp, and also looking at their business model on the lending side, how they can provide equity to their loan officers. They're also doing a revenue share component as well. And what I was hearing yesterday, Trammell Crow, if you knew back in the 80s, they also gave revenue share. They gave them equity in their deals. So understanding that's a powerful thing. And when other companies try to do kind of sharing revenue or profits and things like that, eXp took it to the whole new level back in 2009 when we had our financial crisis. Mitch from Com Loans just hopped in. Jim is coming down in a minute, but yeah. So Mitch, I've known through my Sperry days when I had a commercial franchise, and that's how I met Mitch through James. And Cliff Bogart is somewhere back there. Yeah, Cliff Bogart's our Texas managing broker for the commercial side. So what's nice is how we're able to connect with so many people around the globe, and just creating a network. What we're doing, but today is really trying to explain the model of what eXp Commercial is doing. I know some of you guys are on the realty side, some of you guys are resi-mercial, and we've seen a lot of companies that are residential companies and they add a commercial component or division, but it's still that resi-mercial component. It's really never disrupted the market. And when Tom actually brought in James a couple of years ago to look at the model, even Tom reached out to me 5 years ago. They didn't really have a commercial platform that was a pure commercial. But when Tom brought in James looked at the model and just kind of talked to the leadership. They said we really need to have a separate company. So when and that was going back and forth, and they actually did it. They separated the companies and started a commercial company separate from eXp Realty. So we're actually two separate companies. Doesn't mean that the resi-mercial agents under the realty can't do commercial, right? They can still do that. Of course, you have the pure commercial practitioners with, like Cliff Bogart as our designated broker for commercial to handle just the commercial side. There are trainings and things like that. And, after all these things, after 6 months being in the platform 2.5 years ago, we really saw that, hey, there is a component where we can actually create a network of real estate entrepreneurs coming together, leveraging this platform, and then and then people building up their own businesses, right? Because at the end of the day, we're all 1099, right? At the end of the day, it's our own business, it's our client. It's really not about the brand, except you. You are the brand, right? And the residential has always been that way. Commercial a little bit different because a lot of commercial brokers, they're not entrepreneurs, right? A lot of them actually work for corporate. And they have that corporate mindset, and they need that corporate. But that's shifting, right? Because in our business, we should be an entrepreneur. We should be our own brand. Clients should be contacting you or myself for the deal, right? And not looking at the brand. Of course, those large corporations, they do have like ancillary services, right? They do have property management, asset management. And Jim is going to talk about like what his vision is for the company on the commercial side to be that services. So, we bring on partners like Com Loans. We bring on partners like Real C. So Real C does the 3D technology, almost like 4D now, but scanning, where they have it in Asia where they're bringing this technology over. It's I don't want to say it's like a Matterport. It's very different, similar, but at the same time, it's leveraging that technology together. And I'll have Matt kind of share the technology of what they're doing. They're launching it on the commercial front because commercial really doesn't have what the residential had in technology, right? We're a little slower on things, right? But being a tech company, eXp is a technology real estate company. It's about data. It's about leveraging. And, we're 88,000 agents worldwide right now, and currently in 24 countries. So, before I bring on Tom, I know a lot of you guys folks are in the network. Some are not. Really just kind of sharing, and maybe Tom, you want to kind of share your history. Why'd you come over and, kind of sharing your story a little bit. And then when Jim comes out, we kind of share how that conversation was to bring on the eXp commercial president.
Okay. All right. You got it. Yes, guys, Tom Dron from Boston. I've been in the business now for 18 years as a full-time real estate professional. I left the corporate world as an insurance CFO, Chief Financial Officer for publicly traded accounting firm, insurance firm. Did that for 13 years. So this is my second career. And the reason I left the insurance world was I wasn't really building a future for my family, right? I was working for the man, right? Helping the shareholders earn shareholder value. And, as an accountant, it was burning the midnight oil literally every quarter, every month, every year, getting the reports out to Wall Street. And I got burnt out, not from the money. The money was awesome as a CFO for a publicly traded firm, right, with a lot of stock options and stuff. But I got burnt out from not having a purpose in life, to be honest, right? What was my purpose as a CFO? And so I left that corporate world to be an entrepreneur for a couple of years. For the first couple of years, I took all of my earnings and my savings, started a laundromat, a chain of dry cleaners, environmentally safe dry cleaners, a bagel shop, a Vietnamese restaurant, got a liquor license, ran a country club, lost a lot of money, learned a lot of lessons, life lessons, got the entrepreneur bug out of the system. My wife beat me up a little bit and hunkered down and took real estate seriously. Okay, went out and I bought another franchise called We Buy Ugly Houses. You guys see We Buy Ugly Houses franchise? They're actually based out of Dallas. The franchisor, right? Based out of Dallas, and I bought a franchise and started flipping houses. Did very well with that, and then after about 2 years, from 2003 to 2005, I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute, there's a lot of real estate commissions I'm leaving on the table here, from the buy side to the sell side. At least in Massachusetts, it's 2.5% on the sell side. 5% on the sell side and 2.5% on the buy side. So I'm thinking to myself, if I buy a property for $300,000 and I flip it for $700,000, that's $1 million, and the 7.5% in it, that's $75,000 in real estate commissions. You guys do pretty well as real estate professionals. I want a piece of the pie. So I did. Bought another franchise. In addition to the We Buy Ugly Houses franchise, bought Realty Direct franchise. And that was in 2005, and from 2005 to 2007, things went great. Who was in business since 2005? I see raise hand. Not many. Just about a half a dozen of you. It was so simple to be a real estate professional in 2005. And then the tsunami of real estate hit in 07, 08, right? And it crashed. The crash came hard and fierce. Filed bankruptcy because I was upside down on a bunch of my flips. Okay. Then I opened up my franchise, Realty Direct, of real estate brokers, and started pouring into the franchise and learning to put my ego aside and just follow systems. There's a moral to the story here. Okay? I hope you're catching this. Set your ego aside. There's proven ways to do it. So I dug into the franchise and started doing the things that the franchisor told me to do. Instead of recreating the wheel, just hopped on this bus that had 16-wheeler and go fast. So through the recession, grew from basically an office of 12 in 2009 to 2014 to 120, 10x growth. Agents, 4 offices, grew through the recession. And by the end of 2014, 14, I was disillusioned of being a franchise owner. Who's been a real estate broker owner before, a team leader? See, when you train people and they get good, you hope they stay loyal and stick with you. But they don't. And they leave for greener pastures. And that's rightly so, because we're all built as entrepreneurs. And it was heartaches after heartaches after heartaches of training the talent, leaving. Okay? And then not having enough resources, training, tools, systems, lead generation, support for the rookie agents or the new agents. And then we would fail them as broker owners. So on one side, you'd have success and they leave. On the other side, you have failure and they leave. As a broker owner, I was sort of like, what the heck am I doing? This is not what I really want to do. Packaged it all up and sold it to Carrington Real Estate in October 2014. Did very well when I sold my business because I was in the mergers and acquisitions in my prior life and I knew how to build the business to make it profitable. So I got 4 times earnings. Most real estate brokerages, by the way, don't sell for much earnings at all. Maybe 1 times, maybe 2 times earnings. I got 4 times earnings. Went back to selling real estate because I was coaching agents when I was a competing broker, sold maybe 5 to 6 million a year in Boston. That's about 15 transactions a year. Not much because I was running in offices, right? Immediately after I sold it to Carrington, went from 5 million to call it 15 million, 36 closings a year. Have been doing that since then up until even today. Okay, I sell about, back home in Boston, about $15 million in real estate, about 36 transactions a year on average, of closing every 10 days. It's like clockwork. Closing every 10 days. Okay. And then I got the call for eXp 5.5 years ago. When I got the call, I wasn't looking. My sponsor back then was, my sponsor still today is Tracy Gagnon and Scott Lewis out of San Antonio, Texas. They called and they says, Tom, we see that you're making your way up in the real estate world. I had just been elected as the national president for the Asian Real Estate Association of America, ARIA, nationally. Going to be the incoming national president for 2019, and that was in late 2017, early 2018. That says, hey, Tom, if we can show you a business opportunity that's going to radically change the face of real estate, especially in the way you and I get compensated, are you open-minded to listening? And I said, no. And I said, no again. And then the third time I said no. Before I said no, Tracy goes, Tom, before you say no again, because strike 3, I'm out. Can I ask you two questions? You can be honest with me. So of course I'm going to be honest with you. I told no the first time, I was honest. Told you no the second time, I'm honest. Okay, do you know what you're saying no to? Well, I've seen Keller Williams, I see Coldwell Banker, I see 21 Remax. You know, I've seen them all. There's nothing different about any of those platforms. I go, I know, but we're different. You don't know what you're saying no to. And then the second thing, which really got me, which drives me today, why I hopped on a plane yesterday morning at 5 a.m. to come here to support you and our team. All right, the second question was, well, you made a promise to Aria and to your mom that for the rest of your life, you're going to help at least 100 people become personally and financially free. Do you have what it takes? Do you have the platform to do that, to help at least 100 people become financially and personally free? Now, let me ask you guys a question. If your mom asked you that on her deathbed, who can honestly say, yes, I have the answer to help at least 100 people become personally and financially free? Matt knows. Who else has a program? Dan knows. See, prior to this platform, eXp, I did not have that. When I invested in the laundromat, the dry cleaner, the bagel shop, the Vietnamese restaurants, all these were friends and family of mine. They asked me to invest. I either signed a lease, a personal guarantee, gave them $40,000, $400,000 to do developments. And when they failed, I lost. That's all the way I can bet on people. At eXp, when I saw the model, Lucia calls me, Tom, can you help me meet with an agent in Miami? I say yes. Daniel goes, Tom, can you jump on a plane and come to Dallas? I say yes. Christian goes, can you help me with this? I say yes. I can say yes to all of you. Doesn't cost me my personal guarantee. I'm not going to give you a check, but I'm going to spend my time, energy, resource to help you build. That's what I saw on this platform. Do you understand? So that leads us to where we are today. In 2023, we are at an amazing time in history in the real estate world where there is a shift. Would you agree there's a shift? Okay. Now, I posted a video this morning on my social media, and I've been going around for the past 5 months saying the wrong thing. The past 5 months, I've been saying that according to NAR, about 30% of real estate professionals will drop out of the industry. I'm wrong. Last month, according to NAR, in month ending April, we actually only lost about 0.66%, which is less than 1% of agents leaving the business net. Now we have agents leaving, and we have agents coming in. As of the end of March, there was 1.58 million realtors. Excuse me, 1.54 million realtors. And as of April, there was 1.53 million realtors. Not that many left. So why did I say that? Because there's still massive opportunities for real estate professionals today. And with our real estate platform that we have here, with the We Partners Network, with eXp Commercial, eXp Realty, eXp Luxury, eXp Global, and all the affiliated partners, there's no way you can fail in this real estate business. And there's no way you cannot achieve personal and financial freedom if you just plugged in. All of you, give yourselves a hand. You guys showed up to that. It means you plugged in, right? Yeah, seriously. You plugged in. There are agents. There should be an agent here. All these seats that's empty should be filled up because they're not getting the knowledge. They're not getting fed. Which means you are getting fed and you're getting the knowledge to go out and capture more market share. See, refuse to participate in the shifting market negatively. Absolutely participate in the shifting market for the better. The first part of winning is showing up, right? You guys showed up to get the knowledge, to get the energy, to get whatever you need to leave here today, to dial for dollars, to go door knock, to go farm an area, to do that next listing presentation, that buyer presentation, the commercial presentation, to get the business when someone else just missed it, right? You're going to learn about Calm Loan soon from Mitch and his team here. You're going to learn from Matt about Real Estate, how to upgrade your presentation, your listing presentation. You're getting the knowledge. And these agents who's not in these seats aren't getting that knowledge, so you can beat them. Right or wrong?
Right.
You can beat them, and you can capture more market share. So the rest of the story is I joined eXp 5.5 years ago. By the way, when I joined, my wife did not support me. If Marissa was here in the room, she'll tell you the same thing. For 9 months, she was a naysayer because we were happy. We're selling $15 million in real estate. We're making $325,000 a year in income and just sales. Forget about our Airbnb, our real estate investments, our landlord income, all that stuff. Why do we need to change? For 9 months, she said, I'm not in. And then the revenue share checks started coming. The revenue share checks. If you don't understand revenue share, maybe Daniel will cover it, or I can help you cover it. But, when the revenue share check started paying our mortgage, our health insurance, our cars, our vacations, our kids' college education, she started paying attention. And she saw me around home more often, working in my garden more, going golfing more, never having to say no to my kids to spend time with them. That's your future, right? I started with one. Now our organization is now 1,200 strong. Thank you to Daniel Lang, who's a leader, and Calvin Wong, who's brought in at least 160 of that 1,200, right? And it keeps multiplying. And now, the income's getting out of control. How would you like your passive income to get out of control? It's a great problem to have. I leave tomorrow, I go home, I rest for a few days, I go to New York, we do a major event for 200 agents, training them, coaching them, holding them accountable, motivating them, and then the following day I go to Northern Europe and I traveled around the Baltic Sea, visiting 5 countries, and my phone, my email, everything was shut down for 10 days. And I promise you, when I come back, my business will grow. Guys, that's your future if you plug in and you leverage Daniel and Calvin and Ali and everyone here to help you. I'm always here to help you. Just a phone call away, a text away, except for 10 days next week, okay? But we're here to help you. That's it, guys. I don't know, Dan. What else you want me to talk about?
No, that's good. I mean, I want people to hear your story because it's amazing. Because it, you know, that's what I said no to 5 years ago, or 6 years ago.
Yeah, I called him. I called him 5 years ago. He was on the short list of the top 100 people. Jim Huang, I called 5.5 years ago, and I put my ego on the side. I put my ego on the line to make calls to the heaviest hitters that I knew in the industry. And one after another, no. But I didn't give a rip because I knew about this platform. I understood it. I studied it. Right? I knew what it can do for my family. I knew what it can do for Dan's family. I know what it can do for your family if you just plugged in. Throw all those excuses out the window, guys. You have the opportunity to sit right there in your lap. Just take advantage of it. I really believe that. eXp commercial, we are just scratching the surface of what's possible. eXp commercial is now 2.5 years young. If you're a business builder, like us entrepreneurs, you know the first 2 to 3 years is always tough. Right, Mitch? Right, Matt? But we're making that turn in the road. We're making that turn. We're actually almost at the top of the mountain. And with eXp commercial, about to make it over the hump and come down. And it's going to be smooth sailing. I spent a lot of time with our president, James Huang. And I know how hard he works and how passionate he is about building the best commercial real estate brokerage on planet Earth. And we're well on our way, guys. It's absolutely amazing. The future's bright. Yeah.
All right. So, having Tom as one of our leader partners is great because he started, 6 years right now.
5.5.
5.5 years ago. And then for me being in the platform 2.5 years and just kind of seeing things really take traction, right? And it's not about the agent count; it's actually the leadership that has come in, and just finding the right people to surround yourself with, right? Tia, didn't know Tia before, and I saw her at a salad restaurant walking in, right? And we just made a connection. Lucia met at another networking event. Brent through CCIM, right? So a lot of things is Lyndon from Houston, right? Drove all the way. He saw our event. He's committed, right? That's the commitment. So you surround yourself with committed people and entrepreneurs. You just imagine how your network and your what we call a real estate club. This is what we're creating, a real estate club, right? We can syndicate deals together, right? As this continues to grow, off-market deals that sometimes if Lucia has something, just within the group, right? So we're taking the commercial side to the next level in our organization, and whoever is not in our organization, you can duplicate that. R&D, rip off and duplicate, right? Because we're all about collaborating, sharing. Whatever's working for us, please take that and replicate that and do it yourself. I get on calls all the time.
I like to ask a question. So let's make this interactive a little bit, if you wouldn't mind, right? What do you think agents need today to thrive in the real estate business? Whether you're residential, commercial, residential, luxury, what do you think? What do agents need to thrive? Come on, throw it out. Leads. Yes. And you?
Team.
A team.
Support.
Team support. Leads, team support. What else? Technology. Education. I love it. Education. That's why partly you're here. What else do you need? Think about you. Think about your business platform right now. Rank it. When I recruit agents, and that's what I do, I recruit agents all day long, right? I've recruited 77 now. Jim Huang is one of them. That's it, just 77 over 5.5 years. And those 77 have turned into actually 1,600 out of the 88,000 in the company, right? I only get paid on 7 tiers, which is like $12.50. But there's a whole bunch on tiers 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, all the way to 14 that I know of in our organization. But when I recruit, I ask the agents this question, whether it's commercial agents or residential agents, that says on a platform, on a scale of 1 to 10, ask yourself this question right now. On a scale of 1 to 10 over the past 12 months, how well did you leverage this platform to achieve personal and financial freedom? And if you get to the level where a lot of alphas are, location freedom. Personal, financial, and location freedom where you're not tied to something. Ask yourselves, how well have you guys leveraged that platform? Did it set you financially free? Okay, good. Some of you, I love that. Did it set you personally free where I don't have to touch that phone for the rest of the day if I don't have to? But my business will still grow. Where there's no emergencies. Because my clients, our agents know if there's an emergency, call 911. Don't call Tom Tron. Because I plan my business that way. There ain't no emergencies. There should be no emergencies in your business. If you plan it correctly. And then, did it set you location free? Where you can take 10 days off, go to Northern Europe and not have to worry about whether you're going to lose a listing or lose a buyer or who's going to negotiate a home inspection or miss a mortgage contingency deadline or miss a purchase and sales contract signing or miss a closing. How well have you guys leveraged your platform? Whatever that answer is, whether it's 3 or 7 or 9, my next question for you is, well, what will it take for us to help you get from 3 to a 7 or from 7, 8 to a 9 or a 10? And ask us, Tom, Daniel, I'm missing leads, I'm missing training, I'm missing support, I'm missing a team environment, I'm missing collaboration. What can I do to get better? And I promise you, the answer is right here in this room, right here in our organization, right here in workplace chat, right here in all of the systems and all of the leaders and givers in this organization. We'll give it to you. At least once a week, or forget it once a week, at least once every 2 days, I'm on a 3-way call, a Zoom call for somebody else not in my organization, my revenue share organization, to help someone build. Yes, I helped this guy named Trey Fullen. You guys know who Trey Fullen is? All right, Trey Fullen asked me to call, hey, Tom, I've got a guy, just can't crack him. He just won't join. I know this is good for him. I got him on the call, and within about 45 minutes, I made the guy cry. I cracked him. Now he's really thinking, right? Sometimes we got to get beyond the talk to get to peel back that onion to figure out what is it that motivates you. What is it to motivate you to roll out of bed every morning instead of rolling over? I say that all the time. Do you roll out of bed or do you roll over? Do you hit that snooze button or do you jump right out of bed and say, let's go, baby, I'm ready? Right? Jim Hung was up at 5 a.m. this morning. I was up at 5:25 a.m. Naturally, we just get up and we freaking go because we're fired up about life. Wouldn't that be cool if your life was like that? It can be like that. I don't know, man. I don't know what you want to talk about.
How do you follow that?
Ask yourself those questions, okay? Please do yourself a favor.
So do you sell anymore, or you just purely?
Yeah, one closing every 10 days, man.
And you still do the closing?
Yes, sir. I don't do the closing. I have a team.
No, sure.
If you look me up on Zillow, on Trulia, on whatever, you're not going to find me. I don't want to be found, you see. But I get the checks. I'll show you my checks. I'll show you my tax returns. It's there. Right? My sellers know that I'm there for the listing appointment. When I sign a listing agreement, it's on Lucia's name. I'm a team member. I'm your team. I work for you, Lucia. Right? I don't want the responsibilities. One of my mentors in the insurance business says, Tom, the more keys you have, the more responsibilities you have. I don't have any keys at all. No keys, no responsibilities. No name, can't be found, no responsibilities. People look me up, Tom, you don't sell any houses, oh yeah? Send me over your tax return, let's compare tax returns. Let's have a, rubber meets the road kind of conversation. Right? And then if your tax return is big, I'm listening to you, man. I'm showing up, I'm listening to you. Because I think I can learn something from you. I know I can learn something from you if your tax return looks better than mine. Does that make sense? Yeah. So I still close I give all my listings away. Hardly once in a while I do have a listing go in the system under my name because my client says, Tom, if you're not the guy, I'm hiring somebody else. I got plenty of people knocking on my door, but if your name's not on there, you're not getting the listing. So in that case, I do have to put my name on it. But I don't want the calls to go see a house. I don't. Yeah.
It's good. So that's our leader partner, right? And when you have that every week, I talk to Tom, I text him with Jim and Marissa at least once a week about stuff, just kind of like, hey, am I doing this right? Or this is, even about like virtual assistants, right? How do I, connect and scale, right? Because we're getting larger, almost getting to 200 people. And then I said, how does it look because you have to plan ahead. Like when we're at 1,000, what does that look like? Right? How does that, do I even manage 1,000 people? No, you find your leader partners, right? And those partners are growing their organization. You just support them. And same thing, same thing what Tom is doing. So.
You had a question. What's your name?
I'm Vaughn Gibson.
Vaughn Gibson. Hey, Vaughn.
Is this, is your perspective or what you're talking about, is it from a residential perspective or a commercial side?
Both.
Or does it matter?
It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. We have our commercial division, the tools that you are provided from a commercial perspective as well as residential is not beatable from a pricing perspective out there. All right? The tools, the training, the support, the amount of live training we do on both sides of in luxury, for those who do luxury, it's unheard of in this industry to have this much training. No one in this room can humanly consume every training all the training that eXp does on a weekly basis, even on a daily basis. Does that make sense? It's just way too much.
So, going back to that question perspective, I think commercial practitioners just, that mindset is different, right? Because a lot of them aren't very collaborative, right? They don't do a teamwork. They do a lot of it's their own database, their own thing, and they don't share, right? But with this platform, that's not how we operate,
No.
right? It's really about collaborating. So we're really truly looking for entrepreneurs, people who want to be a broker, right, and take it to the next level. I know some agents are new, that's fine, but you have to have that goal, like, hey, I do want to be there. So if you have that mindset of like, hey, I want to be an owner, I want to have a team, and I want to run my business. I also want to have financial freedom. If you understand what this platform offers, then this is the best platform for you. But if you say, no, I just want to work for corporate, I just want to, wait for my leads, you're not an entrepreneur. You're really not a 1099. That's more of a W-2. You just listen to the broker, and if that's what you're needing to start off with, go ahead, learn that. But when you're coming into this platform, it's really taking charge of your business. You got your own real estate license for a reason, whether it's investment, whether it's growing a team, running a brokerage. Really need to take ownership. So when I share this platform, or when Tom even shares this platform, we're just sharing what this is, what eXp is about, how it started. It is truly like a platform. I went to ICSC recently, the shopping center convention. And Kara, you probably know Chainlinks, TCN. These are networks that combine all these brokerages around the country. So they do the referral. So if a broker here, commercial broker here, does a deal in New York, well, he has to go through that channel, through Chainlinks, whatever channel it is, and then they split the commission to TCN, or the network gets a fee. Well, I thought about eXp commercial. I said, we're all 50 states. We are plugged into a platform, and it's exactly the same thing without bringing on that fee, because we can do deals nationwide, right? Depending on the state and things like that, and finding the state broker or a partner in those markets to run. We talk about classes.
Look at the training. That's today's training, guys. You
And
mentioned
that's-
training, right?
yeah.
It's just on the residential side. Just read through that. That's today. It's available to all of us.
So how do we tap into?
How can you fail? There's
how do we
tomorrow.
Tap into families that we know. I'm from the UK, so I've got extended family over in the UK. How do I tap in? How do I tap into that?
Tap into your
from
family
here.
in the UK to do what?
Well, to get them
License.
licensed
Yeah.
and and join
Yeah.
the eXp world.
Well, I mean, I guess to start, look, how to guarantee winning the instruction in the UK, whatever that means. Find out how
They
to pretty
operate
much
differently over
guarantee.
there.
Oh, that's wiring
So
instructions.
I can't, and I'm so far removed from being over there now.
So very, very easy. If you don't understand that country, how they operate, you can always schedule a meeting with the UK broker or their operations team in the world, right? We have this metaverse. I think most of you, seen it before, so I don't have to share that. But everything is operated in this world. So you can schedule a meeting or go on Workplace, find out who the operations people, create a Workplace chat with them, and then from there you're just creating conversation, hop on a Zoom call. So like, hey, how does UK work, right? And then also learn their stats. You have I think they have 1,000 people in that market. Okay, where are everyone? Is everyone in London? Is everyone in the other cities? Or you can ask those questions, and then also look at growth. Are they doing events in that market where you can just invite your family friends to that training, whatever they're doing in that market too? So
Workplace is a beautiful place. I just typed in eXp UK. If you really want to learn that, then start attending these meetings. If you drill down on those workplace groups, there's always meetings, there's always presentations. Talk with the broker that Dan talked about. You see that? It's all there.
I'm talking to eXp Colombia right now because we have a team member that's connected me with somebody in Colombia, and I don't know anything about that country. So I said, hey, let's connect in that market and just learn about it first and understand, what visas this person has. I think he has his Australian, Canadian, U.S. Passports, but what visa? So things like that I have to learn. And if I don't know it, I got Tom. Tom doesn't know it. We have our leader partners that are in those markets, right? So there's a lot of resources, but you have to ask a question. So I know a lot of people don't ask a lot of questions, but you need to, right? If you don't know the answer, quick text. We have all our group chats that we created, our channels. Please ask those questions because whatever's in your mind, we didn't know what's going on. So because if I know we talked about UK before, but then this is how we're going to do it. And we have a timeline. Like, hey, when are you going to schedule that call with a broker in UK or their operations team? And then follow up. So
I love seeing this. This is actually Lee Duong is one of my tier one. She's one of my 77 agents, and I just saw this pulling up just by accident. So I teach Lee this. I says, Lee, do you want personal freedom? He goes, yeah, I want personal freedom, Tom. So I said, from here on out, when you get a listing, get it out to the eXp world, and please use this unbranded link and promote it to get your buyers. Also, if you like to do open house this weekend with me to get buyers, please PM me. I'm teaching her to get other people to do open houses for her, with her. And then she can judge whether they do an open house as good as she does. And then from here on out, you just pass them so they can do the open house and she can take some days off and still earn the buyer agency side of the commission. Does that make sense? This is part of just weaving other professionals into your business so you can weave your way out without sacrificing your income. Right? We teach you all of this. If you take these courses in the eXp world, I did not come up with this stuff. I just learned it from the best of the best who've managed to build big businesses. You guys get it? It's all there for you. Training, support, lead generation. I mean, it's all there. Jim was just walking in and he left. What other questions?
I got a quick question.
Yeah.
I was late, so I might have missed
Sure.
a lot of the conversation.
Sure.
But for someone that has aspirations of, doing commercial internationally, does eXp offer anything to license myself in a Costa Rica or a Dominican Republic? Anything
So
like
we are in DR. We are in Puerto Rico. We're in other parts of Latin America. You can get licensed there, if not, or you can build your team in those markets. So, but the thing is, your U.S. license is only for the U.S.
Right.
So, as an entrepreneur internationally, if that country allows you to do deals, because not all countries require a real estate license. Like I'm learning this, right? And you can do deals, right? And you're getting paid directly to you, right? But if you want to create a team in that market, because as an entrepreneur, we need boots on the ground, right? Just like with this network we're creating, we have boots on the ground in different markets. So I'm going to the Denver markets. I like that market, right, for investments. We're in Miami now because Lucia connected me with somebody, and then that person connected with Tom, and we're in different markets. So if you have that mindset of like, hey, I do want to grow these markets because maybe connections, right, or maybe you travel there, right, or you just want to do deals there, or there's developers that are developing things and you want to sell their product. There are ways to make those connections, and there you
See
go.
Spencer, who? He's an EXP guy. He's an EXP realty agent. We're not in Thailand. Okay, he's in my rev share tier 2, I believe. All right, he's in my rev share, and he's selling a condo in Thailand. We're not even close to being in Thailand. To answer your question, is yes, you can do whatever you want. He just happens to travel to Thailand because he's an international broker, and he struck a deal with whoever is the owner of this building, and they are authorized him to sell the building. And he uses Workplace, he uses Facebook, he uses LinkedIn to promote, and he builds an international business. The answer is yes. The world is your oyster, my man. We give you all the resources, we give you the training, you just go do it. Go out and do it.
He says global realtor, eXp global.
Yep. Yep. Yes.
Question is that you just mentioned is that it's an international route. How's that like user? Because I know that different regions, countries, they have different like license
Yeah.
stuff, and how it will be like an international. What do you mean, like a need to go different certification?
Spencer is a master at his craft. He did not wake up one day and get that listing. He's been at it for decades. Decades. Okay? So you got to plug into that country, learn everything about it. He travels internationally for business.
And he has his network of attorneys. He has a network of different people for answering those questions. If you're trying to buy there, what is my visa? Can I buy there legally and things like that? So you're creating that network of people. Like whether it's in Mexico, some people are selling in Mexico, and the developers are paying you directly, right, as your referral fee, and that doesn't come into the U.S. As a real estate commission because it's not done in the U.S. So you have to understand, like, if you want to go global business, then you go global, right? So, yeah. So most agents, what I've seen is that they get their license and they join a company, and their mindset is just sell, sell, sell. The focus is not for them to become a broker to compete against that broker or own a franchise, right? That's that path as an agent, right? With eXp's path, you can do that, but there's something more, and that's what we're wanting to kind of share. That something more is you can do what you need to do as an entrepreneur, right? If you want to build a team, build a team. If you want to be nationwide, go nationwide. If you just want to just do your own deals, have your mini team, that's fine too. If you want to do commercial, there is that platform now, and that's where James is going to come in. He'll come right back and just kind of share, his vision and what he's doing for that. So,
what else do you guys need to succeed? What do you want?
Lead generation strategies.
Lead generation strategies. You're residential?
Yes, primarily.
Okay. What are you doing now for lead generation?
Cold calling.
Wow. You cold call. Give him a hand. How many hours a day do you cold call? 6 hours a day of cold calling?
3 and 3.
So how do you... give me a script. I want to hear it. 3 hours, 6 hours a day. You're calling expireds? Okay, so we're expired. So this thing expired yesterday, and you used Red X. What do you use to get the expired telephone numbers? Espresso agent. I understand. Okay, go.
Hey Tommy, I was going today. I saw your house just expired from market. Were you aware of that? I just noticed that the listing that you had prior to this lasted for about 120 days. How did that go for you? Are you sure that you still want to sell today? Are you could get a buyer at the price you wanted? Would you be interested in meeting with a buyer? Are you still open to meeting with an agent? Maybe they have if they have exactly what you're looking for, what discouraged you from selling this time? How did that work out? I hear that, Tommy. I can understand that. It's not always the agent's fault. Sometimes the market, combination of both, could be one or the other. I wouldn't know until I got a chance to tour your home to see if the condition matches exactly what your price said. Do you know if your condition matches your price? Tommy, would it be okay if I stop by tomorrow afternoon or Thursday to find out if the condition matches the price and see if there's something I can do to offer a buyer's contract or cash offer? Great, Tommy. I'll come by tomorrow at Tuesday afternoon, 3 o'clock. We'll see if there's something we can work out. Fair enough?
Wow.
Nice.
6 hours a day.
Conversion, like, how
Yeah,
do
I'm
you-
curious.
It's still very low because the opportunities are very low also. There's not as many expired in the marketplace and conversion percentages are kind of low because people's reasons for changing, their motivation, for the most part, over the last 4 months has changed. The motivation was to capitalize on, profitability and things like that. And when that's no longer the primary motivation, then people start thinking, well, I'll just stay, I'll wait this out. It's okay, it's no big deal. They didn't have the proper motivation to begin with. So there's those people, and then there's the percentage of people who still actually need to sell, and then there are the guys that they're in such bad shape that emotionally they just don't want to hear anything, so they don't. So anyway, conversion percentages are a little lower. Personally, I feel like I'm asking about lead strategies because I'm kind of a one-trick pony in that way. And so I'm trying to figure out what other ways could I, he mentioned earlier when I first walked in, hey, would you like to kind of life, but let's leave your business for 10 days and you're gonna stop moving. Well, I'll tell you what, that's not.
So what are some of the objections that you're getting? Let me see if I can sort of help fine tune this a little bit for you.
I don't know why I would need an agent, everything sells overnight right now.
But it expired. It's been on for 120 days.
Last agent I had didn't do anything for me. I don't understand why I would have paid him 5%.
Yep.
Let's see, the buyers and interest rates in the marketplace just changed. I got an offer to fill out a contract. Buyer didn't want to pay my price. It appraised lower than expected, and I'm not going to pay any difference.
So one of the questions I think you're gonna, and then Jim's gonna come up, right? One of the questions you probably are asking, we just haven't gotten that far yet as well. What's your plan? You wanted to sell it, it didn't sell. Do you have to sell? When are you gonna sell?
My question to arouse that point
Yeah.
is, hey, if you were able to get exactly what you wanted, where would you go?
Yeah.
And when did you feel like you needed to be there?
Yeah.
And that typically starts that part of the conversation. And because you're already angry, it usually ends up being, well, I don't need to tell you that's none of your business.
So let me share with you something, and then Jim's coming up. So in KV Core, most of you are residential agents, right? So in residential, we have KV Core. Do you guys know that there's such a thing called manual listings? Who's used that? You have. What have you used it for?
For my listings.
Exclusive, off-market MLS listings, to be exact, to stay compliant, right?
Say it again.
Exclusive, off MLS listings. There might be a seller that says, hey, it just expired. I am done with open houses. Maybe I'm overpriced, but if you can find me a buyer, I'm happy to. If you can actually bring a buyer, not you by yourself, but if you can bring a buyer to look at my house, I'll be happy to show it. Right? I get it. Because I come across that. It's so cool. So in order for me to market it off MLS, you're going to get a million phone calls. Can you give me an exclusive for a week? And give me a week, because you need to rest anyhow from the open houses. Give me a week. I'll send a paperwork over for 1 week. Allow me exclusively to market it just to my spheres of influence. It's not going to go into the multiple listing services. Got it? You get that paperwork and you create a manual listing. Guys, I did that for 10 Linda Lane because it's my own listing. I did it before I listed it on MLS. I signed my own exclusive listing agreement, off market. I boosted it for a week before I put it on MLS. I double-ended the deal. Earned both sides of the commission. Doubled my paycheck because I put it off market and I boosted it. And it has to be exclusive.
So when
Okay, a little trick for you. It's KV Core. Go ahead.
So when you put it up there, where does that listing get pushed to?
Everywhere
You say
except
your sphere of
MLS.
influence,
When I boost it, when I pay the $60 or $45 or $120, it goes to Facebook, it goes to Google, it goes to LinkedIn, it goes to wherever I want to go to. There's a
Under
link.
your name.
I can grab this link right, and I can just put it out on social media. Off market coming soon. Inventory is slow. Who wants in before it goes on MLS? There's the link right here. You just copy the link and you put wherever you want to go, right? You can put anywhere you want. Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Craigslist, or you can even pay to boost it. Boom.
and that boosting it automatically pushes it out to all of your
Google
URLs
and Facebook will do their job to boost it for the people who are searching in that neighborhood. All right, Jim, you're up, man. That's it. A little tip for you. That's gold mine.
Is that clear cooperation compliant?
Huh?
It is if you get an exclusive listing agreement.
It's an exclusive listing agreement,
Not
remember?
on MLS, because your seller could say, I don't want it on MLS.
That's
So
right.
there's a box on page 3 that you can check that says sell shows not put on the MLS.
Boom!
Right,
You got it?
yeah, I know, yeah.
Okay? Take full advantage of that. This is how we beat the market. This is how we can double our paycheck if we just work smart. All right, guys, Mr. James Huang, our eXp Commercial President.
Thank you, Tom, and thank you,
Yeah.
Daniel, for the hospitality, using their office. It's always great to be back in Dallas and Texas, because one thing is, every time, the first thing I land is, I need to eat barbecue. I need to eat good food. I come from
And fried
California,
chicken.
and fried chicken. I'm hitting it all, maybe doing a little shooting, playing a little with Tannerite with some of my friends out here, right? But no, I always love coming to Texas. As California, we don't have the good barbecue and good food out here that I love. But I can only come here maybe once a year, once every couple of months because of the good eats and the good food. So really happy to here to share eXp Commercial. As many people know, and we have our broker of record of California, or Texas. Sorry, I'm broker of record in Texas, Clifford Bogart, and he'll talk a little bit about everything. But really sharing a little bit about eXp Commercial. But really, how is it going to help you? Right? That's what we want to know. As the market is getting tougher, how can you plug in to do more business, to collaborate, to close more deals, to stay in the game? We all say you're going to work harder for less, but leveraging the relationships we have in commercial so you could do more deals and educating yourself. Because we know a lot of times, even with NAR, they told me most people are now looking to educate themselves, to find out what's going on, to get better at this business while you have more time, right? You don't have time to show open houses. You know most deals are not going to sell because of the interest rate. So what do you do with your time? And we will have Mitch Ginsburg with Calm Loans and his team, because technology is a big player. The good thing we love about eXp and being part of the realty game from commercial is watching the improvements. Residential are so much more ahead than commercial in technology, like what we use in the metaverse. We were the metaverse at eXp before Facebook changed their name. Now the big word that takes everything out is AI, ChatGPT. How many people uses it now or plays around? Learn to use it. Learn to be, the new word too, a prompt engineer, right? For those that understand it. It is changing the game of how we do real estate in general. And now residential is talking about it, but now in commercial, the compression. Before commercial, we always say we're 5 to 10 years behind realty. Because of AI, it could be 1 year separation of tech, because it's going to change the industry so fast. Every residential company currently is looking into it. you need to be looking into it, understanding it, learning how it's going to enhance your business, learning how to be a prompt engineer, to ask the right questions, to help you build content, to help you with AI, to help you build all of these other services to be, I always say, bionic now, to help your business. But how does this help you with commercial real estate? So with eXp Commercial, where we go? I could do it the manual, old school. Okay. So I've been in commercial real estate for 25 years. I was Wall Street Finance Dean Witter at Morgan Stanley, then for the old school, who worked for the largest TIC syndicator. I worked under Bob Rabati and Mark Paul. We had $2.7 billion under management. I worked directly under CEO, marketing, underwriting, anything that Bob wanted. Yes, I even picked up his laundry. So I was that trusted to pick it up and do everything he wanted. But because I was so close, I learned everything about commercial real estate. I did a lot of the underwriting from one company, Marcus and Millichap. So as everyone knows from M&M, as they're called, I learned my basics from Marcus, which is a very hard training program. People say it's the best, but it is, I always say, like the Spartans. They throw you in and the strongest survive. In 1 year, out of 100 brokers, 5 would make it. 5. And that's after 4 interviews for you to be the 100. 3 to 5 years, let's say 3 years later, half of those 5 make it. So out of 15, you're like 7 or 8 that will make it, and usually you will produce $250 to $500,000. Pretty consistent because we learned the basics. Very important. So through that experience of going to Marcus and then building my first company, BRC Advisors, I said, you know what? I like a good culture. I want to do it a different way. You know, I want to work with friends after I paid my dues at 4 years at Marcus. How can we work together with people you like, sharing deals like Tom was saying with the KV Court? But we knew in our local market, being an expert at a certain product type, we started just doing deals with each other. I knew I could make 100,000 here, $250,000 there, you know, certain number, because we were trading deals amongst a good network of brokers, right? Culture. So what happened was when we started BRC Advisors in 2004, it kept on growing to a point where I got out of the brokerage business because we had 180 commercial brokers. We were regional boutique, but we did about $2 billion in sales. So pretty significant. 2009 hit, for those that were around. In 2009, what happened, right? The whole world changed and blew up, and everything did change. But I want to go through this timeline. Oh, do they not have this on this one? Okay.
Might be towards the end. You talking about the growth?
Well, the whole timeline.
No.
No, I'll put it here.
Yeah. So one of the things through this timeline, for those that have been around, Glenn Sanford set up our company back in 2009. After he experienced being the top agent, there must be a better way with brick and mortar. At that time, I had over 5 offices. Yeah, the time. So I had 5 offices. My nut per month was $500,000. And everyone that had been in the 2009 recession, you weren't doing any deals. I know Mitch knows it very well with getting all the loan clawbacks in realty, residential mortgage. But these are the things that you learn. There is a better way. There is a way without brick and mortars, but how do we build a collaboration? So with Glenn building the model of our platform, and I love the word agent-centric, because many of the people wanted to be partners with me, to put it on their business card that they were a partner, but they didn't understand. Partnership means liability. You got it, right? You got to take a piece of the lawsuits. You know, when you get a capital call and all these things, some people are broker owners. They don't understand. Title doesn't just have title. It comes with liability. So a lot of times, having built this company with eXp, I always say, with all the trials, tribulations to success, as I know with Tom Trong, 6 years ago, when they started getting the super traction, right? Less than 5,000 agents to now 88,000. We were built on the platform of giants with eXp. Mostly because we can now get the referrals, help collaborate as a true commercial firm. We started eXp Commercial in 2020 during COVID, where now this is what really helped us. People didn't have to go into the offices anymore. This was a big game changer for commercial real estate, which always needed to be in the office. But those that adapted, didn't have to go in the office. They're saying, this is great. I don't have to go in the office. Hey, guess what? CBRE, JLL, Marcus, BR, all these different companies. Do I get a discount for not going in the office? No, you're paying for it anyway. So they're like, wait a minute. I have my own office. I lease my own space. But you're saying I still have to pay 50-50, 60-40 split, no cap to the company, and I don't need to use the office anymore? This is when everyone started thinking. And that was a big first game changer for eXp Commercial. Commercial brokers realized that they didn't need to be in the office. For those that have been around too, the next game changer really helped us is how Glenn set up in 2009 eXp. We're experiencing it again now, full cycle. Right now, 15 to 17 years. It's always like 10 to 18, maybe 20 years we go through a full cycle. Right now, everyone's experienced hyper interest rates change in the market. We had remote working really change the office market. When we talked about Amazon, how it changed, the retail market got disrupted. Now office markets are getting disrupted. Technology is changing everything. Having now the interest rates change, people are really looking at our model. And we always say when people copy or follow our model, that means we're doing something right? Why copy something that isn't working? So many companies are copying and following what we're exactly doing with our eXp model. But in commercial real estate, we are changing the way people are putting away the business. Because we are corporate, we are not franchised, we're publicly traded, it allows more of the institutional commercial brokers to join our company. We started with onesie, twosies, the good commercial brokers that came over. Now we're starting to get the institutional commercial brokers to join our firm. People from the big companies, we are having teams 1 million GCI, gross commissions. We've had groups now 10 to 50 million GCI coming over. That's significant game changers. But the other part, as we're talking, what else are we building? We're building full service. And this is how it can help you also. We're bringing capital markets, asset facility management, valuation, and corporate services. A lot of, as Tom told me, just jumble. Right now, everyone's looking at a property in commercial, even residential. How do we reset the capital? How do we make the math work? Capital markets, that's what it does. We look at a project, somebody that's distressed, somebody that needs to sell. How do we help you? If we can't help you here, we bring you to valuation, asset management. How do you run the property more efficiently? So you can serve your clients to hold on to the property, kick the can down the roads for better days. Also, with what we're building with the asset management, for those that have been in the REO market before, receivership business. We are building a very strong receivership business with people that have been part of IREM, Institute of Real Estate Management, those that have been in that market cycle, those that have been in the REO market before. So we are putting a lot of those puzzle pieces together. One, to look at your problem to see if we can fix the capitalization problem, help you bring more money, help you put the middle part, the mezz, help you put the new debt structure. As we know, pure debt is at a higher interest rate right now. Hard, but we can look at it. The next, we can't do it. Let's help you run your property more efficiently through property asset management. So these are the ways that everyone, eXp or outside eXp, we can help you engage. And we don't take your client, we help you engage by contract so you can engage with these services and products with experts that we have. The next is valuation. Oh boy, you can't do anything. What is your property really worth? So you can renegotiate with lawyers to do a cram down. For those that played with that, to reduce the amount of dollars that the property is worth so you can renegotiate. Trust me, banks don't want to take back the property. They are not in the business of running real estate properties, right? And right now they got smarter. They don't want to outsource because they lose so much money. They'd rather give it to their best client or negotiate with the current owner to take it over and just write it off on their balance sheet. So these are these different pieces that help. The other one is corporate services. When you look at land, ground up construction development, adjusting what the property could be. Sometimes tenant in tow, many of the people that deal with luxury clients have corporate accounts. We always say McDonald's started with one, but they're in the real estate business. They're not in the fast food business, and a lot of companies are in the real estate business and not in the food, restaurant, or service business because they own the land. If you have a corporate account, and we can help you with this, and we're working on this, is to bring a large corporate accounts into the company that we manage and help you win it. Publicly traded, check a box. Expertise, check a box. Now you can run all of these so we can find the location, do a ground up construction, and exit it, whether it's a REIT, DST, or something more sophisticated.
And Jim, if you don't mind me
Please.
interjecting here, a big part of the corporate services business is also working with corporate America in multiple locations on leases. And in fact, there's really a lot more of those type of
Cliff,
deals.
come up here.
There's-
This is perfect timing.
There's a lot more of those type of deals. There's the, as I was telling Jim just the other day, you've got the CBREs and the JLLs and the big commercial real estate corporate entities, and they're fighting over the Fortune 500 companies and handling all of the corporate services for the Fortune 500 companies. But that's the tip of the iceberg. And in fact, we've all seen the image of the iceberg with a little bit that's above the water. The big part of the iceberg is the Fortune 500 and first company to the Fortune 10,000. And there are so many of those. And I can tell you, having worked for CBRE many years ago, they won't even allow their agents to work on a lot of those deals because they're too small or they're not. They have a huge infrastructure that they have to support. I don't know if anybody's been to CBRE's offices in Uptown. Anybody? They're fantastic. They're beautiful. I mean, they have literally a 40,000 square foot floor, roughly 40,000 square feet. It's on the floor actually is extends out over the top floor of the parking garage. So it's like double the size of a normal floor. High ceilings. They probably have 60% of the people there are staff, and maybe 40% or maybe just a third of the people there are actually producers. And they have to pay for all of that. This is some of the highest priced real estate in the city. So they can only work on those big deals. I can tell you, when I started my brokerage company in 95, we had a number of smaller corporate services accounts. One of my agents, Gal, had a division of overhead door. Everybody's heard of overhead door. And she handled, they had 45 locations in the U.S., a couple in Mexico, and a couple in Canada, and she handled all of them from her workstation. And the technology has only gotten better and better and better. In fact, it turned into a full-time job for her. She had one client. But we have the tools, and we're bringing on the expertise that will allow you to bring on corporate services, which I think is a big opportunity. And a big opportunity, and it's the closest thing to regular commissions. If you can imagine, if you had worked with a company that had 40 locations, average, with a commercial lease, the average lease term is about 4 years. Nobody does a 4-year lease. Typically 3 years, more 5 years, occasionally a 1-year renewal and 10-year leases. And if they all average to about, if you took an average, it's 4 years. So that means about 25% of all leases come up every year. And when those leases come up, they need your services, whether they get your services from you or whether they get your services from somebody else. And the last thing I'll mention about this is there are 50 times as many potential clients on the commercial lease side as there are on the investment side. Of course, the investment side makes some really big deals. You can make some really big commissions on commercial leases as well. And we have the infrastructure, we have the documents, we have processes, and I personally, do a lot of the training that's involved in working commercial leases as well as commercial investment deals or whatever. But I want to. I've heard a couple of times already today, and I don't mean to take too much of your time here, but that commercial is behind residential when it comes to technology, and I'm going to differ with that. The technology for residential. The technology for residential is good, obviously, and they started out the MLS system, what that was originally. Maybe that was the first piece of real tech. And I go way back. I go way back to where with commercial real estate, we were really excited. I mean, the whole industry was excited when fax machines came along, which meant we didn't have to run across town to deliver proposals and what have you. But we have a tremendous spectrum of technology. The difference is where residential, all of their technology is honed around one type of property, a single family residence, and assisting one of two positions in a transaction. You're either representing the buyer, you're representing the seller. Not only that, but most states have a promulgated contract that you have to use, so it's fairly down the middle. Commercial real estate, you have everything from multifamily, retail, industrial, office, land, all self-storage, mobile home, whatever. And within each of those segments, there are some tremendous data resources. There's some tremendous data. If you wanted to focus on mobile home parks, there are some tremendous organizations and data sources just for mobile home parks. So a big part of what we do when we bring on new agents and when I bring on new agents is to get them to find an area of focus and then learn that type of property and the technology associated with that type of property. Learn that, and then you can kind of branch out after that. But we are teed up and to do just about any type of transaction. And last thing I'm going to say, as a corporate entity, that makes such a huge difference. We're not a franchise group. We are a corporate entity, publicly traded on NASDAQ. And so that makes a difference, again, when it comes to corporate services. If you're dealing with the facilities, the VP of facilities for XYZ Corporation based out of Chicago, it makes a difference if they are dealing with a franchise commercial real estate organization or a national commercial real estate organization that not only can serve them where they are, but really anywhere in the U.S. or even internationally. So anyway, that's all. I don't know how I got off on that tangent, but nonetheless.
Well, and it is really important to take this time. So those that are with eXp, here's a 249 course to learn, to educate yourself, to get certification through Lipsy. Cliff Bogart also teaches as we're building another training program, because we know, let's say you're working on the residential deals, but there's only so much you can do, right? The price, the interest rates, unless it's an all cash buyer, it's very tough. Here in commercial real estate, there's other, as we're talking, different product types. We all heard industrial is super hot. Office, not so much. Multifamily, very stable. Retail, actually, we went to ICSC, the International Council of Shopping Center. I'm always going to call it that. It's starting to get optimistic because they went through 20 years ago where we all heard death of the malls. Is the malls not going to survive, right, Cliff? Mm-hmm. We were all talking about. Now it's the office. But the retail malls has recalibrated, right, after so long to find out it's all about services. It's all about experience. It's all about food. It's changed. The office market's doing this. So learning commercial real estate, getting a platform of education knowledge, and then we'll have Mitch and others plug in with the technology, is to bring everyone together in our metaverse, in our world. And we open this to everyone because we know in commercial, we like to collaborate. We like to work on referrals with the best agents. And I would always tell people, use this time to get that knowledge, that education, that training. And as Cliff says, come here,
yeah,
the mentorship.
I want to make another point. Some of you who know me have probably heard me say this already, but I started in the commercial real estate business in 1979, so I don't know how many people were alive in 1979. I see a few gray hairs out there. I know you were alive in 79. And when you hear about inflation and interest rates are the highest in 40 years, the highest interest rates, highest in 40 years. Well, that's when I started in the business. When interest rates, in fact, I started with a developer and I ended up losing my job because the developer was doing construction loans at 17% interest. And that all fell apart, and that's when I went to work for CBRE. But having been through several small and several large cycles over the last 40 years, there are opportunities right now. And in fact, where everybody is poo-pooing office properties right now, and a lot of office buildings are going to go back to the lender. You know, if it's an office building, a Class B built in 1980s office building, it's 40% vacancy, and now their loan term is coming up, and they have to refinance or put a lot of capital. They're handing the buildings back, what have you. I've seen investors make more money. You know, buy low, sell high. I've seen investors make more money who had cash and guts, willing to invest and buy these from the banks or from developers who are desperate to unload it so it doesn't get foreclosed, and turn them around. And in fact, just this morning in the Dallas Morning News, Steve Brown, which, by the way, one of the best ways to kind of keep up with what's going on in commercial real estate, just so you can be conversant. And I don't want to get off on another tangent, but it's very important to be conversant in your industry. And one of the best ways to remain conversant is to subscribe, digital, paper, whatever, to the Dallas Morning News. Steve Brown, he's been for 25 plus years, he's been a real estate writer for the Dallas Morning News. Probably has 10 to 15 articles a week, and you can get a feel for what's going on all throughout the industry. Well, just this morning, he had an article on all of the office buildings that are being foreclosed, going back to the banks. And again, I saw people make a tremendous amount of money in the RTC days, back, you know, in the
89, 92, the RTC one.
Yeah, and in every down cycle, and there were a lot of opportunities right after the financial meltdown if you had cash. So cash is king. Yes, sir.
Could we get Steve Brown to do a eXp events with us?
I bet you we could.
We can get a bigger venue, of course.
Yeah, I've been to a couple of, and you probably have as well, been to a couple of events where Steve has spoken. But he is just a great resource for what's going on. But there are opportunities in a market like this, you know. And I'm not going to be one of those people who said I've made more money in a down market than an up market. But I've made a lot of money, and I've done very, very well in a down market. You just have to switch your focus.
Yeah. Quick question.
Yeah.
When you said the office buildings are going to turn around, is that by converting them to multifamily, or what is that?
Well, it could be any number of things. So some smaller office buildings, I'll tell you how some, here, you want a secret? Here's if I had capital and time and wasn't doing 50 other things, I'd find a small office building, a little 2-story building, maybe 15,000 square foot floor plate. So maybe 30,000, no more than 60,000 square foot. Older building, I would convert it to basically co-working, 100% co-working. There's still an increased demand for that. There seems to be an almost insatiable demand for that. I'd have a good portion of it that also had training and classrooms that you could then lease out to anybody, not just the tenants, but the rest of it, a mix of open collaborative area and then smaller individual offices. You know, put the glass on the interior offices, glass on the exterior, so there's light coming in. You know, that somebody who's going to do that, and I know there's probably some folks doing that already, are going to make a lot of money.
So another thing, eXp owns Success Enterprises. So Success Spaces is getting into that market where you can purchase a Success franchise for the spaces, take this office building, have a Success coach, have you leverage what they're doing, and basically you have a whole network of 88,000 agents that can get plugged into your Success Spaces as an entrepreneur. So those are other things that our company is growing, and those are those ancillary things. You know, as World Holdings owns these other businesses for our stocks.
So, very good point. So as we're setting up a new education platform in eXp, but outside, we're trying to bring the best minds to showcase and share. We're talking about tax reassessment. This part of the market, when the market turns, tax reassessment is important. If you talk to them, say, can I help you, especially in Texas, 3%, right? I mean, and non-disclosure state. If you can find it, if you have the right data, and you tell anyone, do you want to save on property taxes? No, I don't want to. I like to pay it. Come on, they're going to talk to you so you can engage to look at their numbers and plug in. And this is what we're working with Cliff. all these ideas to find what lane, what's your expertise, what do you want to learn from. And not only are we going to do the education training and some type of certification that you understand it, but how to plug in. How do you plug in from the capital part? How do you plug in from the expertise to help you get the consulting? How do you leverage, like we're working with Upflex? Upflex, I call them the Airbnb of office space. Because so much office spaces are coming on the market, they're willing to sublease and use your space to rent it out. They're starting to take over theaters. So Upflex is another company. So our thing of using all these smart minds, people that have been in the business for a long time, is to plug in, to teach you, educate you, but build the expertise around you. Like you said, you will have your whole consulting group around you without hiring them and not knowing who to go to. That's the hardest problem. I was telling, anytime you want to be successful, you need one, the opportunity, right? Something or a vision. You need the money, and you need the operational skill set to execute on that plan. Some people have one, some people that are really lucky have two. I know here in the company, we have three. So we just need sometimes people to scout, to say, I know a piece of land, or somebody at my church, or somebody in my lodge, or somebody has an issue and a problem. Because we have so many smart people within one company, from so many different parts of the company, from the transaction, from the leasing, and yes, we do business opportunity, from the vertical commercial services of capital markets, asset facility management, corporate services, valuation, and others. We can help you look at a problem without taking your client. Just, here you go. Here's a plan. Here's what it's going to cost. Put a profit loss statement, a budget together. And these are the things we're starting to teach people. We're all entrepreneurs if you're a broker. You're not a W-2. Yeah.
I don't mean to throw you off, sorry, but I just had a quick question
Yes.
for you. You mentioned that you work with Marcus and Millichap.
Yes.
How does eXp compare to Marcus and Millichap as it relates to market share?
Oh, so we're building. 2 years in. We made by agent count, we made about a top 10. But it's not just agent count. It's productive of agents, right? Volume. So more and more, because now we're getting friends from, we got Rosewood Capital. Rosewood Capital in New York City was number 13 in the country in multifamily by themselves. They were number 8 in the city. We have a lot of our friends of friends, and that's why you have to set a good platform. And we say, because of COVID, remote working, because of higher interest rate, market's 50-50, and the big company. So a lot of people have to find a good platform, and this is why, if you could show the LinkedIn, I just want to give everyone good stuff that they can use and take away. Those are the best agents to do a 3-way, to tell them to talk to Cliff, myself, other experts. So we could show them the why. Why do this? I was at Marcus. We had friends at CBRE. And Cliff was there when it was CB, before it was CBRE. Yeah. So that dates him a little bit, right? Way back when. And see, these are the important things to understand. And I would say through LinkedIn, you follow and know what we do. And I tell everyone should be on LinkedIn. This is the why. You share and like what we do. Because somebody within your LinkedIn, if you didn't build your LinkedIn profile, and I started first, maybe 1,000, 2,000, I have like 35, 40,000. But it took me 15 plus years to keep building, refining, working, right? Your farm, your area. So when you're marketing and posting and putting out there. So I always say LinkedIn is where the commercial real estate folks. Use our LinkedIn, like it, and when you follow us, you could share our successes to put it on your LinkedIn page through your circle of influence. And guess what's going to happen? I didn't know you do commercial, because they don't know. They're just going to go, I didn't know you do this. I didn't know you do that. I didn't know your company does this. Tell me more. If they're interested, 3-way, without selling to them, show them, experience. They may have a client that reached out through your friendship networks saying, I have a service industry, I have a restaurant, I'm expanding. Oh my gosh, I need a downside in this market. We have a whole platform for you to connect with, all the different product types as we're building. So you could say, I have somebody, let me get you that person. And the good thing is, as experts, we can talk to them in a very intelligent, high level that we can help you get the deal, or give them good advice so you maintain a client, right? We need to always take care of our clients, do what's right by them. and that they're going to stay clients with us. But I want to give time, and we'll do a Q&A with everyone because I want to be very helpful. Mitch Ginsburg, come here, Mitch, and technology. We're talking about tech. And Mitch has a creative way of putting tech and getting referral fees from it because we want to find as many ways in commercial, since we're non-RESPA, we can pay referral fees. So whatever you plug into us, we hope helping your client can help you. Mitch, if you want to share ComLoan.
Thanks, Jim. So ComLoan is very much on the forefront on the tech side for commercial real estate lending. We're an online marketplace for commercial loans. So those of you that are familiar with commercial lending, it's not like residential, which is just very homogeneous. Residential, the reality is whether you go to lender A, B, C, or D, you're virtually going to get very similar product. Maybe there's an 0.1% difference. Each one's going to tell you they're going to give you the best service, right? So generally it's based on personality. You're going to go with a loan officer that you've built a relationship with and that you like, and that's who you're generally going to work with. But the product to the client is going to be very similar irrespective of which lender you go to. Commercial is the exact opposite of that. There are so many different types of lenders. You know, you got all your different kinds of banks. You got federally chartered banks, state chartered banks, credit unions, community banks, and then you got not only banks, you got CMBS, which is commercial mortgage-backed security lenders. You got agency, which is Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac for the multifamily. You got life companies. You got debt funds. You got private money lenders. You got all these different kind of lenders, and guess what? They all got their own rules. They size up their loans all this different ways. So how does a commercial real estate borrower know where to go? It's really, really tough. And I experienced it personally when I got dabbled in commercial real estate back several years ago. I was in residential lending for 25 plus years. I owned and ran a residential mortgage bank. And I was blown away that it's so complicated for any borrower. How does a borrower know where to go? And really there was no resource for them. And essentially that was the birth of ComLoan. So what we created is an online marketplace using technology where we go to each lender and we say, all right, lender, tell us what you're looking for. Give us your guidelines. Give us your criteria that you want as a lender. So they tell us, right, this is our lending footprint. This is where we'll lend. Okay, great. This is the maximum loan. This is the minimum loan. Great. This is the type of property we're going to lend on, because all properties are different, right? You got retail, industrial, office, multifamily, single purpose car washes, gas stations, self-storage, hospitality, different kinds of hotel. And then hospitality is not all the same. You got full service, limited service, flagged, unflagged, open corridor, closed. It goes on. But each lender says, I want this specific kind of property. I'm not interested in the others. This is what we want to lend on, right? So we say property type. And then there's various algorithms, because in commercial, unlike residential, you underwrite the property. You don't necessarily underwrite the borrower. In residential, you say, all right, let's look at the borrower, let's look at their credit score, let's look at their income, let's look at their debt. Commercial, first thing you look at, let's look at the building. What income is it generating? You underwrite the property. So there's certain algorithms that lenders run called debt coverage, global debt coverage, but the lender tells us what they're looking for. We want a 1.2 ratio. Boom, we capture it. So we capture about 30 variables that are common to any lender. Every lender's got the same variables. All the variables are jumbled up and different, but they look at the same things. So we capture that by lender class, and guess what? We create this database of all these lenders. Then on the other side, we've created a search engine which we capture the borrower's information. Okay, I'm buying a retail in Plano, Texas for $5 million. This is the NOI on it, and this is what I'm looking for. And our system then matches with the perfect lenders that best fit that borrower's needs. And Jim alluded to earlier, what is important is to create a borrower-centric or customer-centric model, something that is going to serve the borrower. Because if you serve the borrower, guess what? You're going to get lots of business, because that's ultimately the person that's going to pay your create your wealth and your income, your good tax return is that borrower. So you want to create a value for that borrower. So what we're able to do is create the best lending opportunity for that borrower. Not something that sort of fits, but we're creating the best environment that's going to be ultimately serve that borrower. And guess what? You're going to get a lot of repeat business because you've created that best opportunity for them. So we've been up and running now for plus minus 8 years. We've got 700 plus lenders on the platform, which represent about 168,000 loan products, because each lender's got multiple loan products. So then you say, well, yeah, it's great you got all this information, but how current is it? The interest rates are kept current every day using algorithms. So we link to the various indices. So the bank says, all right, we base our pricing on the 5-year swap plus a margin of 2%. So we link it to the 5-year swap, we add the margin, and our system pings the 5-year swap, through the day, and that rate's kept 100% current. So the rates are kept current, and then the lenders have a portal that they can go in to change their guidelines. So they're saying, well, I'm really not that hot on office buildings at the moment. I want to cut our loan to value from 75 to 65, or whatever the case may be. They change it. If we don't hear from a lender in 90 days on their guidelines, we reach out to them and say, right, has anything changed? If we don't talk to them, we suspend them, because we want to make sure we got current guidelines, we got current pricing on every single product we have in our database. So this is clearly a platform that is transforming the way commercial real estate is done. And how you've done it with technology. I think the common theme throughout everybody that's been up here talking today is technology is changing our world. Anybody that ignores technology, and I think I was involved in a presentation last night, and it's so true. Either you're going to ride the wave or you're going to get swept away in the wave. And it's so true. That wave of technology is changing our lives, but for the better if you use it. Because what technology does is enable you to get rid of all the busy work, right? The machine can do busy work a hell of a lot better than we can. It doesn't get bored, it doesn't get tired, and it can compute a lot of very menial tasks instantly. What you need to focus on is building the relationship, that interpersonal relationship with your clients, and having the tools available to be able to provide a better value and a better service. So I'm really excited that we've partnered with eXp. We're one of their preferred lending partners. The technology is available. Jim and I are working on some exciting stuff as further integration to create a better, seamless experience for both you as the agent and the borrower. As Jim said, we pay a referral fee to eXp, and then eXp will go ahead and share that with the agent. So not only are you providing a better value and a better service for your client, but guess what? You're going to make some extra money out of that as well, which I think is an absolute win-win. So really excited to be here, to be part of this. eXp as a company, we've been involved with eXp now, about 2-3 years?
Since the start.
Yeah, since it's about 2.5 years. However long eXp Commercial's been up and running. I'm so excited to be part of it. I think the whole model, as far as building generational wealth and helping others by helping yourself as well, is just a phenomenal platform. So just really excited to be part of it.
So Mitch, if you don't mind saying to Cliff, I want to help everyone understand from a tech, commercial, to ask questions. So this is the best way is to learn, or we could just kind of share some of our knowledge, what we think. But does anyone have any questions, any problems, anything that you're working on that you talk to a client for any reason that you feel is in the commercial realm, whether it's a investment property? We always think even homes that are not owner occupied is an investment property, right? And you could parlay good equity to unlock cash flow by changing a single family home, working the numbers, to a commercial property to unlock the cash flow, because there's equity there. So any problems, from the tech, education, training, all of our knowledge, it's really having consultants that you don't have to pay the billable hours to help you plug in and connect. Because we know the business, we are connected, we're friends with everyone, and that's the difference in commercial real estate. Everyone does know everyone.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm just wondering, I have a couple of clients that are looking for a restaurant space, and a lot of the spaces are taken, so there's a lot of shelf spaces now. I'm just wondering, can I recommend common loan for shell space, having them to build out?
From a tenant
Talking about
improvement?
For TI, I don't know that you'll.
Yeah,
Probably
no,
SBA, right?
Yeah, SBA.
Just go directly to SBA.
We have Live Oak Bank is one of our partners. Live Oak does equipment lease. They could look at it, but also depending on the project, right? If it's how you structure some others, there are some private money lenders. If they look at the project, what kind of guarantees, cross collateralizing by other real estate. So this is something we could possibly help if it's a good business hand, and if it's a right franchise company, there's higher success, right? With, let's say, Subway's the #1 franchise company.
Is
They may
this
say it's
someone
okay.
who already owns and operates a restaurant, or is it like, I've always wanted to own a restaurant? Then you really need to avoid shell, unless they're independently wealthy. Just find an existing space, however long it takes, because otherwise you're going to be beating your head against the wall.
We have a question?
Do you do church loans?
that's very, very
Brought this
difficult
up
to
yesterday,
find.
right?
It was
We
brought
talked
up
about it.
yesterday. We're going to look at it. I mean, it's the challenge with any lender, with lending to any religious institution, not only churches, but any religious institution, is in event of a default, how do you kick them out of the building? You know, it's really not great press to go and put a congregation on a street, and the revenue stream is really dependent on donations. So it's not like, okay, I've got a business, this is my revenue, this. So it's a very, very difficult asset to underwrite, and as a result, 99.9% of lenders stay clear of it. I made a commitment to say we will look into our 700 plus lenders and see who is open to lending on churches, but it's a very tough asset class. It's probably one of the toughest to do.
Unless we create some kind of religious fund.
Fund, exactly.
As a private, as a
Yeah,
platform, then that could be.
then that could be something in itself. Somebody who
There is a
believes in-
lender based out of Houston. I'll have to go back through my files. I sold
You
a
can
church, and
introduce them.
Yes.
it was somebody who focused on churches.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, please
you
share that with
get in
me.
touch. Yeah,
Yeah,
get in touch, and I've got to dig back through some files.
absolutely.
Yeah, and a lot of it we were talking to, this could help, because we know since COVID, the tithing, donations, everything to churches has decreased. The good thing, sometimes they own the land, or there's schools and the land. There's value. Sometimes the land value, and I was helping the city of San Gabriel, my friend was the president of the student board. They want to do a sale leaseback, right, or a master lease on the land to monetize, right, because the land is valuable, high dense area, but they knew they still wanted it, right? So there are ways we could look at it. If the land is valuable, somebody brings it in, still keeps the religious institution using it as their hall to rent out, building vertical on housing and other, but this is more complicated. We always call it readaptive use, repositioning assets. But if the land is in a very prime location, there's ways to look at it, put something together to possibly raise. But I'll tell you, religious institutions, no one wants to kick anyone out. I remember in California, I got synagogues or Korean churches, 40 cents on the dollar, and they kept on going lower. And I'm like, what are we going to do with it? The minute we do it, we can't do business in California or Southern California, right? Because that's the challenge.
Exactly.
It's a PR nightmare. So yeah, one more question.
Two more questions. You cover all 50 states?
Yes.
Okay, good. And then the second question is, how much referral are you paying? Is it public?
So we do 15% currently to eXp agents. We are trying to put a capital stack. I'm talking to Mitch later about working bigger, because the problem now, it's not the debt. The debt, if you have enough equity, sure, but you're going to pay a higher interest. It's the bridge or LP money, limited partner, to help everyone, because your cash flow doesn't cover the debt service, right? Like residential, you got to cover a certain amount on the property. We need to help you with the LP money, limited partner money, or the mezz equity to put it in that you're not servicing the debt, to kick the can down the road. So hopefully we have this higher debt to come down, right? To lower it maybe 25, 50 basis point next year, we hope, right? So you could refinance. But those are the issues, and finding deals that if they're distressed, we can help.
What's the likelihood of getting a commercial loan on a vacant school?
Yeah, I mean, it's once again, that's pretty much going to be tough. It depends what it's going to be used for. I mean, if there's something, if there's a sorry. All right, so if you have a plan, I mean, if there's a pro forma laid out that you've got a pro forma financial model for this assisted living, you've sort of budgeted out your rehab, your best opportunity then is a bridge rehab loan, which once again, they are available if it's a very strong deal. The other thing in those instances, they are going to look for a strong sponsor. They're going to say, all right, is the person behind this plan, all right, the plan looks great, the pro forma numbers look good, they're in line with what the marketplace is out there. So yeah, assisted livings within this area are generating X amount of revenue. This looks in line, the expenses look in line, everything looks great. The rehab plan looks in line with what it would cost to rehab. So they're going to underwrite, does this make sense? But then in addition to that, who's behind this? Have they done this before? Have they run a lot of assisted livings? Is it your first time shot? It's going to be harder. But if it's somebody that's got a string of assisted livings that is a track record of success, it would make it a lot easier. So those are all variables that are going to be taken into account. And then obviously if the sponsor behind it has a really high net worth, then that's the added thing because they'd ask for a personal guarantee. And in event of things taking longer or not quite working out the way that they wanted initially, there's somebody who has the pockets to keep funding this until they get it right. So strong sponsor is a big plus. Track record, second big thing. Very solid plan is the third. If you meet all those criteria, absolutely yes. If you meet some of them, yeah, the less you have of that, the harder it's going to get.
And next question, and the final one for me is, what is the favorite type of purchase that commercial lenders love to invest?
Well, and this is where it is. What is the hottest property within that market? All right, so it's going to vary by market, but Jim alluded to earlier, industrial's hot. Industrial's great because it ties into this whole online marketplace, Amazon style selling, right? It's online. You need a warehouse to be able to deliver stuff. So industrial's very strong. Multifamily is still very stable. It's not great, but certain areas are hot. So multifamily, and believe it or not, as Jim said, retail is coming back. Retail's good. The stepchild at the moment is office, and particularly your downtown. I was involved in a couple of television interviews, so I've got a lot of data on it. The national vacancy for office is about 12.9%, which is the highest level since the Great Depression. The large office towers range more from 18 to 20%. So it's really high, and there's a lot that's coming on stream. I think it was like something like 50 million square feet or something.
Brookphone, some of these largest office holders of REITs walking away from the building.
Yeah,
San Francisco,
And there's
LA.
a number in downtown Dallas. I think there may be at least 4 different high rises that were built in the 80s or earlier that are in the process of converting to mixed use, where they're going to have retail on the lower floors, hotel, office and hotel, or multifamily. So that's a adaptive reuse.
Yeah.
And let me just to give back on what you're saying, because obviously you're thinking a client in mind. Get a mentor, get somebody expert working a deal so they can look at the problem, because experts within that market, within that product type, could look at a deal and go, doesn't make sense because there's a number, or hey, it's in the ballpark. We can work with this. So that's why you really want to work with the expert within your marketplace of a product type, because we could just look at it and go, we got it. Don't waste your time. And the funny thing is, we were doing some hospitality deals. They were counting, oh my gosh, it's a $200 million deal. Well, this person had been shopping this deal around for 10 years. Everyone knew about it, but the residential didn't know. And then when it really came up to it, the deal maximum was 150 million. And they bought it at about 137 million. So their delta was already below our break even or loss. But they thought throwing it to these residential, whoever, I'm going to ask for 200 million. I'm going to pay you a 6% fee for $200 million. How are you going to get that number, right? So that's why you do, right,
One of
need
the
to get to
best
the experts.
pieces of advice you can get from somebody who's experienced, and we do have a lot of really experienced people, and this is something that I do for a lot of agents that I train and mentor, is qualifying the deal, kind of evaluating it, and a lot of times it's that deal's never going to make, it's never going to happen, and so there's a way to exit from that. And a nice way to exit is to give your client or potential client advice and saying it's not going to work for this reason, and this reason. So why don't you focus on that, get your capital together, do whatever, and then come back, and then we'll have a chance to do that. Now that helps them, but it really is self-serving because it helps you, because the one commodity that we have is our time. And you spend a lot of time working on a deal that has a very low probability or a zero probability that it's ever going to close. Unfortunately, I've seen agents fail because of that. They spend too much time on deals that were never ever going to close, and you need to. That's where advice about experienced or a mentor, somebody just experienced in that area, assisted living, let's say. I know some folks who have a lot of experience in that area, and one conversation with them can either set you off in the right direction or say, you need to move on.
Just to piggyback on the referral query, so we network with a lot of other investors that I might not be doing the deal with, so it doesn't fall under eXp. Do you also honor referrals?
Yeah, I mean, I think the key is it would probably need to flow through eXp. But yeah, absolutely.
Great, thank you.
Yes.
I have a question about your corporate services, because I feel like that could be a big trajectory moving forward. So I'm gonna throw you all a scenario, and I'm curious how you would handle it. Okay. So like Harbor Freight Tools, they're a tool manufacturer. Since 2020, they've added 300 stores. Over the next 5 years, they plan to add 400 more stores. Say I was to get them to say, we're gonna work with eXp Commercial on our expansion. How would that work?
So can I just
go ahead?
So as we're adding a capital corporate services part, we have some advisors that ran corporate services for CBRE. Fred Schmidt, that used to be past president of Coldwell Banker Commercial. We have the experts that can do this to help you go into those meetings, those corporate service meetings, to win the deal, to bring it over. And I know, Cliff, we're starting to do that educational certification.
Yeah, and corporate services is it's a different animal in that you're typically not just offering real estate services, but you're offering additional services. So it's not just transactional. So for instance, I was on a very large corporate services deal 20 years ago, and we not only did we do the transactions, we also did architectural plans. We had construction management, relocation management. It depends on what they're. Oh, and we also did lease administration. So we had 1,200 leases that we managed for these folks. We had we abstracted all the leases. We uploaded it. It was a very early system, by the way, very advanced for its time. So all of those services came with it, and that's what they're looking for. And what they're looking for is from the corporate. Let's say they're looking to open 500 locations. What they are looking for is somebody to handle all the real estate plus these ancillary services for free. And for free means that you get the commissions, but with your commissions, you're also providing all these other services. Now, can't do that if you're a franchise group, but what Jim here is really building, and Jim's responsible for this, is pulling together all those ancillary services. So we're going to have a dozen ancillary services, and when you go approach them, but it's all about preparation. That's a whole other thing. It's all about preparation, finding out what do you need. So they might not need all 12 of those ancillary services, but they may need 5 of them.
Yep.
Okay? So that's what you need to find out ahead of time. You prepare the presentation, you bring in the partners, and you make a joint presentation. It's not just you sitting there saying, here's all the things I can do.
Right now, and I come from a background of tech. I was actually in software sales with Fortune 500 companies, like recruiting software.
Okay.
I'm actually a newly licensed agent. I haven't yet to choose a broker. So I'm just trying to figure out. I know for a fact that I want to go straight commercial, and I know I want to sell,
All right.
sell to Fortune 500.
Sure.
So that's kind of where I'm at. And that's why I asked that question, because Harbor Freight was one of my clients.
Okay, terrific. Well, that's, so you would find out who is, there's probably there's no doubt, there's a VP of facilities.
Right.
And probably has a small staff. And so getting a meeting is the most important thing. And in that meeting, you're not trying to sell your services. What you're really trying to do is find out, what are you looking for? What do you need from your corporate services real estate provider? And then go back, work with the team, put together a joint presentation that addresses those specific things. And that's how you win the business.
So that's what I want to do. So whoever invited you, you talk to them about eXp. There you go. But for us on the corporate services, we can get this because if you have the relationship, right? But now we have the platform and the connections with those that have done corporate services, then we're publicly traded. You have the relationship. We can do it. It's a higher probability to win. By yourself or each part, harder door knocking. Who are you? I know you. This person has track record. Our company, publicly traded, corporate, not franchise, all these check a box, check a box. You could win a big account. And I am working with a very large publicly traded, those are probably publicly traded companies, because we have an exit to open up liquidity. Because when you do these, everyone wants to have a location, sell it to a REIT or DST to open a liquidity section, right? So sell, lease back, rinse and repeat, right? We don't need the asset locked up in the real estate once we build it. We want to open it up, we sell it to REITs, coupon clipping, and that's, we're building the whole vertical. So with your sponsor, hopefully, but how we can connect you with corporate services to help you win the account, because we all win.
You mentioned that people are walking away from REITs. Is that?
No, walking away from office buildings.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not REITs. Not all REITs. Just the office building REITs. They're like, we're done. Well, that's why you watch Vornado. And this is a little tip on a Wall Street Finance. Look at a lot of the REITs, because not all of them, they're throwing them all out. If you look at it, the office REITs, hospitality, different REITs, it's a good way to easily indicators up, low, look at the trends, how they're working, to give you guidance of your product type, whether it's multifamily, retail, office, some specialty property, hospitality products. It's a good gauge just to understand where the market's going without trying to do a ton of research. It's a large macro, but obviously learning, like with Cliff here, in Texas or Dallas, sub-markets, local markets. And that's why working with commercial agents that knows your market and product type is key, because it's not all built the same. And right here from Frisco to Plano to Dallas downtown, Fort Worth, all different, all different. If you don't know your local market, you're going to give this nonsense advice where you cross this street, it's totally different. So, right, that's why working with mentors, experts in the market is so important. But love to help you on that. Anything else? Yeah?
So the ancillary services and everything, Blackstone was labeled there. Greystone.
Greystone,
Are they
yeah.
the private equity partner?
No. So they just do the debt because they're the largest multifamily. So we are partnered with Greystone, Live Oak, and many other corresponding relationships. But on the capital market side, right, that puts everything together, Rosewood Capital and Northmark. So two biggies we're working with and figuring out as they're looking at it, how do you get paid by just saying, somebody has this office building or a project or ground up construction. Can you look at it and give me a quote? And depending on what services they bring, you may get 5 or 10% or some amount of what we can get because we're getting a better deal. So you could solve their problem, which is really what your clients need. And some of them, I was telling Clifford on this, that 150 million, it's like a $2 million number. 5% of that is not too bad.
No.
And just saying, talk about, because we have a relationship on a capital side.
So as an agent that represents a buyer who is going to need some equity in the capital stack, can they facilitate introductions to them
with the fee
help with the
agreement,
LP
right?
stack?
Because you don't want to just let everyone's LP. That's the secret, right? Where you use broker dealers, you're getting, let's say, the normal cost 10%, right, for broker dealers. Very expensive, right? No one's going to give you their LP database. They're going to say, let's look at the project, sign a fee agreement, and if they consummate, right, because no one's going to give you LP money. Everyone's looking for LP money around the world.
Yeah.
So very sophisticated question. I like that. But no one's going to give you. It's really giving you your clients list and where the money lists. No one's going to give you that because that's their secret sauce. That's how they make a living. You will sign a fee agreement if you want to engage them, if you feel confident with some of these big groups, and we will reduce it because of what we were saying, economies of scale, bringing down the cost, adding more to you, solve your client's problem, but making some pretty good fee. Yep. It should never be any worse by using our company.
Good, thank you. Well, I want to talk about one more thing is, we have, no, you can, okay.
Well, put it on LinkedIn. So,
Yep.
so again, follow on LinkedIn, whether you're eXp or not, to learn about it. And if you are, post, push stuff out because it will help you get clients. I've heard every year, if you actually just post, comment, you probably can get 1 or 2 over the year in your rev share, and you'll probably get 1 or 2 clients requesting, whether it's a deal or not. They're just going to reach out and say, I didn't know, or I'm interested. And then you do a 3-way with us and our team, with Clifford, myself, somebody, our team, Daniel, anyone else, and we'll close for you. So thank you.
Thank you, Jim. So for those that don't know the platform, all the slides, everything can be shared. We have videos. Jim does a video every Thursday on YouTube. It goes live, and he interviews other commercial brokers in the company. We can share those out. We didn't want to go through the whole slide deck, but if you want to know more information, just let us know. But everything is public because we're publicly traded. Everything's there to share out. But just the breakdown of what eXp commercial looks like, we're all 80-20 split. Realty side's the same way. The only difference is our cap is a little bit different. Commercial, we're capped at 20,000 versus the realty side, we're capped at 16,000. There are domestic teams on both sides, so just one cap for the couple. Monthly fees are a little bit different. eXp Realty is $85 a month. You get different tools. On the commercial side, we're $250 a month, and we also get different tools. Resi-commercial agents, right, on the realty side. Well, because you're teamed up with us, a lot of those things can be shared within our groups in our network, right? So that's the benefit of finding a group that has that commercial side with you, or if you don't have one, find that commercial broker where you guys can share tools and services, things like that. So that's really what I like about the platform is it allows that cross pollination of the different tools, because I don't have MLS, I have to talk to my residential team that handles that. And some agents like Tia moved over from realty over to the commercial side. She went full time now, right? Allie, another team member, same thing, went over from realty over to commercial. Julie, same thing. Realty was doing resi-commercial, decided hey, you know what? I'm going to build my residential team, handle residential. I'm going full time commercial. So there's options, right? And some people went from commercial, they went back to the realty side because they needed that MLS access. So that's fine. So it gives you that flexible option, how you want to build your business. I wanted to get Brent up here. So I'm going to share a quick 1-minute video that we did at shareholders. They just sent me this yesterday. Let me see. Hi, my name is Daniel Ng, and we are at the eXp Shareholder Summit here in Orlando, Florida. We just got done with the eXp commercial, social media, and leveraging technology, how to make money in this business. And it was a great panel, and I appreciate Holly, Michelle, and Paul Frank for helping out today, and it's just been awesome. Rockstar, baby, rockstar. Yeah. Networking, connecting with people, and just being on this platform for the past 2 years has been great. On the commercial side, we have a great opportunity to continue to grow both sides of the company because we provide value. If you want to learn more about commercial real estate, you can always go to my website, ingvest.com. You can go to the eXpcommercial.com website. And if you are in the eXp, hit us up on Workplace. That is where all the 80,000+ agents are able to connect with in the platform. So look forward in connecting with you. Thank you. So that was our shareholders event that we had. And that's where all the shareholders, we're publicly traded, so we all have stocks, we all have equity in the company. So Brent, last minute, decided to get a ticket and come.
I did. Maybe,
to explore.
Tuesday or so, and flew out on Wednesday or maybe Monday. Or,
Yeah.
No, so bottom line is I was very, very, very impressed with eXp as an organization, as a company. I was impressed with the level of leadership at the top and the level of leadership that they allowed for their agents and brokers to assume to lead other agents and brokers. But that wasn't my main goal in going to eXp Summit. My main goal, I'm commercial, through and through, 100%, day and night. I wanted to find out, is this commercial thing legit? Or is it just like another, anyway, I won't go there. And I was very pleased to find that the commercial people in eXp commercial, especially, I don't know if you call them a long time, they've been around a whole year or two, were very solid commercial brokers with solid commercial knowledge. And so for me, I'm very encouraged to connect with those guys and build my commercial brokerage business under the eXp umbrella. So it was a successful trip for me to understand.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I mean, he plugged in, he showed up, and that's the main thing with leadership. You got to show up, and it's, he explored, and, we had a team that went. Tia came as well. I want you to share a little bit about shareholders. Didn't know what to expect. I just said you need to show up.
Yes.
And you showed up.
Yeah. So I met Daniel probably September, October last year.
Yeah.
Never told me anything about eXp. I just, the group is really good. So went to shareholders. It was extremely insightful. You got to sit in a lot of different classes where you was with the agents that did the hard work to get to where they are today. And so it wasn't just like they hired people to come and speak. It was the actual agents that strapped their boots on and went to work. And I think that was very motivating. And just being in a room along with people that is ready to support you at any cause. So I met so many people. I'm a baby at eXp. I've only been here for 2 months, but the support is out of mind. Yeah,
good.
That's it.
Thank you. So those are the two that came, and there's other people that came. We had a Airbnb that we stayed at. Brent didn't stay there. He got smart. And I need my space, but it was good. So the masterminding and just coming together, and there's a lot. It is truly just a platform, like an Amazon platform. It's just, what do you want to do with it, right? Lyndon drove all the way up this morning, all the way from Houston. He saw, because he asked me, are we doing this in Houston the next day? I was like, no, it's just going to be in Dallas because they're here for comm loans, and I just wanted to, because they're here, wanted to share with you guys. So I appreciate you coming up as well and learning and connecting during lunch, and then we're going to have lunch at Legacy Hall. Whoever wants to come, that's gonna. Just gathering, and then we'll do a commercial happy hour. So in the afternoon is because I haven't met all the eXp commercial people in North Texas. So since Cliff Bogart is here as our designated broker living in Dallas, I said let's have all the commercial brokers come together in the company so we can just kind of meet and greet. Some are out of town, some couldn't make it, but it's our business, and we don't have to wait for corporate to do something. This is something we decided to do. Right? It's just like, hey, let's do it. Cliff, can you make it? Sure, he can make it. And that's what we're doing. Just like with my question, hey, can we get Scott Brown or Steve Brown to speak from Dallas Morning News? Right? I don't need to wait for Cliff to do it. I'm like, hey, let's do it. Cliff, can you be there? Do you have connections? And we'll just get things done. So we take things in our own hands, and I hope that every one of you guys do the same thing because you have the same platform. We're all in the same playing field now, right? Lucia's connected with people around the country just through LinkedIn or connections that she has. Tia as well. We have a team member in North Carolina because of your connections. Yeah. So our group is growing in that market, and that's the beauty of just making those connections. So I can build is not a EXP.
Lucia had a question.
Oh,
Well, not a question, I just wanted to share for anybody who isn't part of this team. I specifically came over to We Partners because of the real estate investment group team feel. So I am Resi Marshall, I get to do both, but I tap into this partnership that would not be, I hand over heart believe, in any other team in eXp. This is unique. If you're serious and you want to be in this business on either side, I would highly encourage you to join this partnership. Thanks.
all right, thank you. And one more announcement in July. There is it's not an EXP event, but it is by a EXP, one of the leaders in our company. We're going to have an event in San Antonio, July 10th to the 12th. Pretty much all the big leaders in EXP will be here. Even our founder will be there. Brent is going. Lucia, I believe, is looking into the as well. So,
you know what the key to life is? Energy. Energy is how you get people to list their home with you. Bring energy to your goals, energy to your relationships. Because here's the bottom line, you get what you tolerate. This is changing agents' lives. This is leaving a legacy for their family. I want every one of you to really feel the fact that I'm not quitting. Till every single one of you leave something behind. The downturn creates opportunities. We have momentum. We are the largest independent real estate company in the world. In the world.
Never met a match I couldn't handle.
People don't need more leads. They need leadership. And they need you to show up. Turn the camera on. Speak your mind. Go pick up the phone and help somebody. Go make a difference in someone's life. Your business will grow.
Our founder, Glenn Sanford.
If you're a new agent and you're willing to do what it takes, you will be successful.
For me, leaving something behind when I'm gone was what I was looking for.
I'm a beast! Let's go! Take massive action! Help me welcome to the stage, Mr. Tony Robbins, everybody! Woo!
What I love about what you guys have built here, Glenn and the whole team, is just that you're all owners. I mean, how cool is that, right?
So that was last year at Build, and it's not an EXP corporate event, but it's bigger than an EXP corporate because one of our leaders decided, like, hey, let's get other leaders together. Let's create a massive event together to help other people build. You know, so that's the opportunity, right? We don't have to wait for corporate to do things. We are owners of the company, and we can do it. So together, as you know, we continue to grow. If you're, like I said, if some people are in different organizations, continue to grow. You got great leader partners. Make sure you plug into them, right? And a lot of them, you know, you just know me, but it's beyond me. You got Tom, you got James that are our leader partners, Gene Frederick, Tracy Gagnon, right? Scott Lewis, you know, Scott's in Puerto Rico. I'm going to get on a call with him later this afternoon, right? That is your leadership, you know. But yes, please go to Build 23. You know, show up, right? You're going to have. Well, last year was almost 4,000.
Yeah, about 4,000.
Yeah, 4,000 people, right?
This is the flyer. I've got a few for you. Once you register, you can actually bring 2 guests for half price.
So,
right? Okay.
So if you're serious about building a team and also connecting with a lot of other leaders, what they're doing, when I went 2021, that's where actually I shifted my mindset. of like, oh, I really can do it. Because if Tom can, at that time it was 800 agents, in his organization, I was like, there's no way we couldn't do it as a group, right?
Yeah.
And then I learned, and I just R&D, rip off and duplicate, right? Because everyone has great ideas. How can you make that your own and create something? So that's all I have to say. We're ready 12:30. We're gonna head to Legacy Hall. If you want to connect, please come with us and grab your food and let's just sit down and have a conversation. And then the happy hour will start at 3 to 5 for the commercial brokers. Yeah, over there as well. We'll just make it easy. I didn't want to think too much, so I appreciate everyone's time. Yes. Huh? In the van? I could if we wanted to. Okay.